Hello, everybody. Welcome to July's virtual tasting for Hidden Gems. Looks like a lot of you are probably away on Saturday enjoying the beautiful weather, maybe at the coast or the mountains. So it looks like it's just going to be a solo act for me. And that's quite all right. I have my friends here to keep me company, the 2020 Chardonnay Pétillant and the 26 La Gramona or Gramona La Cuvée Cava. So let's get started with this month's presentation. Let me share my screen. We got Stuart. I should just join. Let me go back and let Stuart in the room. Hey, student Lori. I think you're mute. You're muted.
Trying to get off of that. Can you hear us now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay.
Actually, I think let me change to my headset. I think I'm in the wrong.
It sounded good.
1 second. How you all doing today?
Good. So while it's just us, I wanted to share that I got the text today that says ready to virtual taste you was the notification that popped up when I got the text. Of course, the whole thing was, ready for your ready to taste your ready to virtual taste your Ruby gems and the rest of the message. It truncated at an interesting spot.
Oh, really? That's pretty interesting. Huh. Yeah, on my end, when I tested it, the whole thing came through. So I'm not sure why it shortened it.
The whole message did, just when it pops up at the top with the notification.
Oh.
It just to ready to virtual taste you. I'm like, what is this?
It was like what spam messages is hitting me up right now? That's fantastic. So I take it you have both wines open and chilled?
We do.
Yeah. Did you sneak a taste at one of those?
Not yet.
We have been.
You've been good.
We snuck a taste of the 18 Old Vine Estate.
Ooh,
recently.
Yeah, that wine is tasting well now, but that wine's gonna have a lot of life to it.
It's,
yeah.
It's very pretty.
Very excited about that. All right, well, without further ado, let's get started. So this is volume 3 of the Hidden Gems, July shipment, focusing on Spain today. So welcome, as usual. A little bit about the region. So Penedes. Are you too familiar with Penedes at all? That region?
No, not really.
Yeah, so Penedes is interesting. Like we think of Spain as this monolithic country. They all speak Spanish, which is not true at all. In the northern Spain, they speak Basque, which is unrelated to any Romance language in Europe. Then in the south, they speak Andalusian, which is Spanish, but has some variations. In the central, they speak Castellano, which we know as Spanish. Northwest, they speak Galician, which has this kind of like Celtic influence. They have bagpipes and plaid skirts in Northwest Galicia. And then, of course, to the east where we are, they speak Catalan. And Catalan is similar to Spanish, but has some kind of like French influence as well. I guess because of the relation is to France near the Pyrenees. But Penedes is a small region located south of Barcelona, with the Mediterranean Sea on the east and the Sierra Mireles mountain range in the west. Very hot region there, so they can grow pretty warm climate varietals. And this is the central region for Cava, which is the wine that we'll taste today. It's also known for a lot of international varietals. So when we say international varietals, those are varietals that aren't native to Spain. So like Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, those wines, and not too far from that Priorat region. And Priorat is known for those international varietals as well. Big, deep, inky reds. A little bit about the food. So Catalonian food is pretty hearty. It's a mountainous culture. The first picture up there is botifada amb mongetes. Botifada is a type of like sausage made in that region, and mongetes is this prized white bean that's there as well. Very simple, hearty dish. And also below that is the fricando de vedella amb bolets. Do you want to guess what bolet means in Catalan?
Mushroom.
Mushrooms.
There we go. Easy, right? Like the king of boletes we have in Oregon. So they have a special type of mushroom, this bolet, which is translates to I think it's called like bloody milky cap mushroom, which actually is a delicacy in they have in the Mediterranean region, in Italy and Spain, and parts of France as well, but doesn't grow in North America. They also have in the Yunnan province in China. But oddly enough, it actually grows on the base of Doug fir trees. So yeah, this fricando de vedella ambolet is this like roasted lamb dish with these hearty, bloody milk cap mushrooms, which they can pick up a lot of like heavy metals. So if you like forage these, they say close to roadways, they could be like, they can pick up a lot of pollutants. So it's best if you're foraging in Catalonia, Spain, to get them out in the woods. We're kind of far away from human intervention. Some Catalonian music. So Catalan is heavily influenced, or this Catalonian rumba we're listening to right now, is heavily influenced by some Afro-Cuban instruments. There's claves, which are these two kind of wooden sticks, and also the Andalusian culture from the south, which has this heavy African influence as well. And this is like a typical kind of like Catalonian rumba, which has this kind of like Romani gypsy guitar playing as well. So play a little bit of that for you right now. Sangre caliente just means hot blooded in Spanish. But let's play some Catalonian rumba. Feels very Spanish. Spanish guitar, yeah, it's nice upbeat. I feel like I want some sparkling wine right now. You know, it makes you want to just like relax on a nice Barcelonian beach. Let's go next line. So tonight's grapes are going to be all Spanish varietal grapes. Are you two familiar with Spanish varietals at all? Besides like Tempranillo, Granada, and Garnacha, the classic red ones.
Probably just those two.
Yeah.
Yeah, just those two. So we're gonna be focusing on the Spanish whites, which kind of get overlooked, but can make some really pretty wines. First wine, this is first grape rather. This is Zarolo. Zarolo is how you pronounce it. It thrives in the warm growing region of Catalonia. It's a white grape, pretty like small clusters. Produces very like aromatic, high acid wines. A lot of stone fruit, citrus flavors, and this is going to be the dominant grape in Cava production. This is going to kind of provide a lot of like the aromatics and the acidity that you need in sparkling wines. But lately, people have been making these wines into like single varieties as well. So next time you're in a wine shop, see if you can pick up some Zara Low. It's going to be pretty hard to find, but those are very interesting wines. Next, Macabeo, or Viora, as they say in Rioja. Rioja is that northern region of Spain that produces, the classic Riojas that we know in America, with like Tempranillo and Garnacha. But Viora or Macabeo rather, has another white grape, bigger clusters, more compact berries. So you get more like intense flavor. But this grape rather, gives more of that weight and texture to the sparkling wines of Cava. It's a pretty like chameleon grape where depending on how you vinify it, if you can have like a very simple high acid flavor with like kind of like honeydew and ginger, or if you like let it ripen later and make it more to a dessert wine style, get these nutty flavors with like a little bit more sweetness. So very versatile grape, but usually adds that like backbone and body to the sparkling wines of Penedes. So let's taste. We're going to start with our 2020, go with the Ruby first, the 2020 Chardonnay Pétillant. And you know, this is the second year that we made this wine. It's kind of like almost an accident because we had so much Chardonnay in 2019 and said, all right, what are we going to do with this? All right, let's make bubbles out of it. And feedback from all of you was so great. They said, all right, let's make this a permanent thing. So this is made, sparkling wine can be made in a variety of ways. Champagne, we know it as the traditional method, where there's 2 fermentations. One happens in the big tank, then the second fermentation happens in the bottle itself, and the CO2 is captured in that bottle. This is made in a very kind of like cost-effective, easy style called like forced carbonation, where we essentially ferment the wine in a large tank. And afterwards, we add CO2 for the effervescence. But a lot of ripeness, I remember, in this wine. I think a little bit more ripe than 2019 was. So more ripe, acid is very high, as we love. A lot of that like not money, a lot of that honeydew, melon, and like ripe citrus as well. And I cheated. I opened my wines last night because I made this halibut polenta dish that just really screamed for some sparkling wine.
Oh.
Yeah, it's great. So do you two drink sparkling wine that much at home?
We do.
Yeah. What are your some of your favorites right now?
Generally, the things coming out of France
Okay.
are some of our favorites.
Okay.
And then, well, Ruby. Can't go wrong with Ruby.
And Domaine Broy has a sparkling rosé that's he hit it right on the spot.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to go there to taste. I haven't been to Domaine Roy yet.
The Domaine de Broy. I know there's also a domain
Oh, yeah, that is
on Dundee Hills between Winter Hill and Domaine Serene.
Yeah, that
is the one that Coppola bought.
Yeah, okay, yeah, okay.
But their winemaker's been there for 28 years.
Okay.
The whole time since it was it Vista Hill, I think, originally.
Okay. Okay. Let me cool. Yeah, I've been there yet. I heard it's a really cool space, and they yeah, they actually just sold. Someone just bought Coppola.
So Coppola sort of sold to, and I forget the name, one of the other big ones down there.
Big ones, yeah.
And it was sort of a merger buyout from what I read, because now he's on their board.
Mm-hmm.
This one was not included in that deal. This is still.
You're right. Yeah, this is going to still stay with Coppola, but like, yeah, the whole overall company, which is what you do. You know, you make Godfather and winery and sell it and get super rich. Awesome. So let's go on to the Gramona La Cuvée 2016. So if you look at the bottle, it says Corpinat right here at the bottom. And Corpinat is actually it's a new designation in Spain, I think maybe since 2017. So what happens is that Cava is a region that produces sparkling wine on a large scale. You know, Freshenet is like one of the biggest producers. I think maybe the biggest producer in Cava. You can find it at Albertsons, Fred Meyer, you know, maybe like 12, 15 bucks a bottle. But these small producers or other producers, not all of them are small, broke off from the larger Cava region and started their own little thing called Corporate Knot. And Corporate Knot focuses on like lower yields, longer time aging on lees, and all traditional method wines. So these are all wines made in the same style as champagne, but at a lower price. So this Corporate Knot is a newer sub-region which represents higher quality of Cava. And I thought it'd be a really cool wine to share because these wines are pretty hard to find.
It's not a different AVA, it's just a different style that they're
Yeah,
using.
yeah. Well, think of like if non-producers in the Chehalem Mountains decide to break off and like have their own thing, and they decide to like make the wines in these like specific styles of higher quality, like lower yields, different aging processes, and we all agreed that this is a thing inside the label our wines, like Willamette Valley, Chehalem Mountains finest, whatever. You know, it would be like kind of that equivalent. So yeah, so on the nose for me, it's a lot more like bready on the nose, more like biscuit, brioche. I get a bit more spice. Now this opened up a lot, so you just open yours, you might not get everything I get, but I'm getting like more spice than the Ruby. Has a little bit kind of floral quality to it as well. But then on the mouth, it's like a finer mousse than the Ruby does. A little bit finer mousse, a little bit more body, I think. But the ripeness, for me, the ripeness isn't as intense as the Ruby was. For the Ruby, it's a bit more fruit intense than this wine.
Mhm.
This is like more texture, pretty long finish. Has a little bit more sugar too than a Ruby.
It's a good food wine.
It's a very good food wine.
No,
Yeah.
you want heat.
I want cheese.
You want
I
cheese.
want cheese.
We want cheese. Yeah, I mean, I would like this for the chef would work, I think, very well. I wouldn't go like deep into like the aged cheddars with this. I think something a little bit lighter, in my opinion, would work a little bit better with this wine.
Mild,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a little creamy.
Mm-hmm. But this region is warmer than the Willamette Valley, so the acid is a little bit lower. You know, that Ruby wine was like pretty high acid. This one's a little bit lower than the Ruby, and I think that speaks to just how warm it is in Penedes compared to Willamette Valley.
Would it compare to like Rogue Valley?
I mean, let's see. Rogue Valley does have some Pacific influence that I forgot what that. I think those valleys run east to west down there. They're not north to south valleys, right? So they kind of channel that wind coming in from the Pacific. I would probably say, but is Rogue Valley considered Mediterranean? Rogue Valley might be considered more continental because they get snow down there.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
thinking the wines that come out there
Mm.
were kind of similar to the ones around here, the Tempranos and Merlots and things.
Yeah, definitely. They definitely have all that heat
Rogue
that can
Valley.
go.
Yeah.
But they have, I would say Rogue Valley actually has cooler nights than this region does. So they maintain acidity better. Kind of like how Walla Walla is, like the high
I
desert.
was thinking of that also. Yeah.
Yeah, where it's like super warm, but at night it gets like very chilly, so the grapes can respire. Was it respirate? I think respirate. So they can maintain their acidity better than if it was just like hot all day long.
Bigger swings day to day and across the seasons.
Yep, that diurnal range, and that's usually the what do you call it? The aspects or the features of a continental climate, right? You get those like cold winters, warm summers, and depending where you are, you get those like diurnal swings as well. So, yeah. Any preferences between the two?
They're both good.
They're both good.
Mm.
And yet a little bit different too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this one, the Spanish one is more, like I said, a little bit neutral.
Mm.
You know, whereas the Ruby comes forth with, little fruits, little,
Yep. Yep.
has something special.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a good food wine. If you don't want something that's competing, you just want to, have a good wine with it. It's good.
Yeah. And my guess too, not knowing all their viticulture processes, but my guess is that it's pretty warm there. 16 could have been a very warm year. So they could have picked the grapes before they were like phenomenally ripe, so they won't lose acidity. Whereas like Ruby with Malama Valley, we can let our grapes hang a little bit and they'll still keep their acid, but also have that kind of like flavor ripeness as well. So this was probably like a picking decision where, all right, we want to have acid in our wine, pick it. We would rather pick it a little bit early than a little bit later. And because this isn't a house style, there's a year printed on it, they weren't able to blend wines from different years to kind of make a consistent style. So this wine, just like our wine, is very like vintage dependent. So depending on like if it's a 17 or 18, it's going to taste like similar, but also show the vintage a lot better than like if you had a Vouv, but a Vouv is going to be the same Vouv every year. The Vouv, the orange label.
Yeah, the champagnes are mostly reserve in the champagne sense, where they're blending to be consistent year to year.
Exactly. Yeah. But I thought this was a cool wine because I don't think people get a chance to taste this sub region of Cava. It's pretty hard to find in the stores, and also it's a pretty new region as well. And I thought that I tasted some other wines, weren't really that impressed, and I thought this was a cool wine to introduce people to. So
this would be good with a first course and appetizer.
Exactly.
Hors d'oeuvres.
Exactly.
And you can still have whatever later in the meal.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it'd be really cool to do a like a prefix menu or like a 7-course dinner with all sparkling wines, different styles, different sugar levels, different mousse levels. I think that'd be a really cool thing to do. Maybe I should arrange that at Ruby.
I think that we should do a dinner paired to the gems that you've been picking.
Yeah, I think
after we do a few more, and
that would be fun.
That would be fun. I actually wanted to ask. I'm going to send out a survey to the club to see what's the appetite for doing an in-person gems tasting.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that because I think as people get more comfortable and the vaccination rates are rising across Oregon, I think people are kind of losing their appetite for the virtual stuff and want to like be around people again. So yeah, I think it might be time to think about having this in person again.
And to challenge you, try to figure out if you can do both. I mean, somebody not close enough to come still gets
exactly. Yeah, I'll have to like hire a camera person or something.
Well, we can work on that, but yeah, one thing we've noticed is some of the virtual things we've done. There've been club members from all over being able to participate that otherwise wouldn't get to.
That's true.
Come in and do locally, and I think that's a good thing.
It is.
We should try not to lose.
It is. You're right. I definitely agree with that. Yeah.
So this one being a cuvee, does it have all 3 varietals in it?
Well, different varietals, I think.
Well, this is going to be you're talking the Spanish, correct?
Right.
Yeah. So I think this is just like a La Cuvée is like their trade name for the wine. Gramona is one of the classic producers of Cava. They make higher end versions. So if you like this, want to see like actually like their more serious stuff, I would go check them out. But this is going to be primarily, like I said, Zaralo, Macabeo, and I think a little bit of this grape called Palayada as well in there.
So it's a different 3 varietals than the French champagne.
Yes.
Yeah, French is going to be Chardonnay, Meunier, and Noir most times.
That's what we're used to, and this is a different set.
Very different, because there aren't any red grapes that go into this. They're all white grapes. That's why like sometimes the body is a little bit lighter than like maybe like a Blanc de Noir or.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it is lighter than the French ones.
I didn't have my glasses on, so you know
I think it says on the label that would be
that would be
sharing
cheating.
secrets. Yeah.
That's sharing secrets. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Are there any questions about Spanish wine or Cava, Penedes at all?
Can we get more?
We actually do have a few bottles left over. So if you want to pick up more, I'll put it in the system. But yeah, we have about maybe 4 or 5 bottles left over.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm going to start doing is like some re-releases, like some paired up like older wines that people might have liked, like the Cabernet Franc people really liked last month. Yeah, that was a cool one. So maybe like Cabernet Franc with the sparkling, or yeah, we have like a couple bottles here and there, not large amounts. So yeah,
Check into it.
yeah, check into it. Yeah, just you can either text to that thing or email me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, are there other interesting regions of Spain with other wines that we might come across later?
Yeah, so Spain is doesn't get talked about a lot for some reason, even though winemaking goes back, almost 1,000 years before that. Um, I really like is a region called Montserrat.
Mhm.
Oh no, I'm sorry, Monsant. There's Montserrat, but also Monsant is a really great region. It's like the burgeoning red wine region of Spain. Super high-end red wines made from Tempranillo, meaning Tempranillo and Grenache wines. Have a bit more acid than those Ribera del Duero wines, which can be like very big and tannic and take years to mature. These have a bit more life to them because a higher elevation than Ribera, a little bit cooler. So I like that. Ribera del Duero obviously is for me probably like one of the greatest red wine regions in the world. Um, that's awesome. I love the white wines from Northwest Spain, from Galicia. So that's where Albarino is famous in that region. So like, if you can find not like the cheap Albarinos, but if you go like that $20 plus price point for Albarino in that Spain in that region, it'll blow your mind because they have texture, they have weight, they have acid, they have fruit. Um, I love those kind of crisper white wines from the Basque region, like the Chocolina and Chocolate wines. So there's a lot of regions in Spain that we'll get to explore. But yeah, there's a lot. Mhm.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm kind of leading you down the path more off the beaten places. I tasted some Turkish wines the other week. I was like, ooh, this could be fun.
Yes.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. So yeah, stay tuned.
Okay. They
Yeah.
would pair well with some really great spice food.
Oh my God, like the red wines. Have you had things from Lebanon before? The Lebanese wines?
No,
Uh,
we love the food.
me too. Yeah, I love Lebanese food. But Bekaa Valley is a premium region for red wine.
Okay.
Yeah, Bekaa Valley. So I'll try to get some Bekaa Valley stuff for y'all. You'll be blown away by that type of stuff.
They just kind of lined up a whole series of pairing dinners to pair the foods with these wines and bring in Lebanese food to go with the Lebanese wine.
Oh boy, you are asking a whole lot to do. You're asking a whole lot. I'll keep it in mind though. I'll keep it in mind. By the way, are you two coming?
It'll be fun.
Are you two coming to the party, the member party in July?
Unfortunately, not.
Oh
Beach
man.
that weekend.
Yeah, we'll be at the beach.
Ah, that's a shame.
We've been trying to work an invitation to the beach for quite a while. And
Sure.
it worked out there's going to be that weekend.
That of course that one weekend.
Yeah.
Well, that's a shame.
We're a little bummed about that.
Yeah, that's
We'll-
cool. But hopefully we'll be able to have a fall party as well again.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Back to the big soiree. Like
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're going to take some of that delicious 115 to the beach. with us.
Oh man, what year are you bringing?
We cleaned out the 15.
Okay, 15 is done.
Done.
15.
We took it all.
I think the last year we made was maybe 17.
From
Maybe.
what Glenn's told me, you have some 16 and there's some 18 coming.
Oh yeah, 18 out. 16. I love the 16. Like I have that in my like little cellar, my cellar, um, my closet. But
That's
that
us.
that 16115 is, I love that wine.
I think 15 was the first Ruby wine that we just, oh, I fell in love.
Uh,
So
15,
when it came back around, I was like, oh, we gotta get that.
yeah, 15 was big and bold.
That's what we like, and that's why
Yeah.
the Old Vine Estate that
Mm-hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
big like that.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yep. So we've been snacking on blueberries and blackberries. Beautiful with both of these.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
But you know, it's like that old, what's the old school champagne cocktail? Kir Royale. Ever had one of those? Yeah, you put like the blackberry inside of it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a Kir Royale. I think it's just sparkling wine and creme de cassis
Oh.
with a blackberry on top inside.
The glass, but I was gonna use my good manners instead.
Yeah, I mean, try it out actually. The one thing that when you add the blackberry, it'll foam out all the sugar. So just be careful. Yeah,
Don't make a mess.
don't make a mess.
It's like when you pop the cork, don't let it go everywhere.
Am I supposed to fill the glass that much anyway?
Yeah, and I'm sorry because I was planning on show you how to properly open a bottle of sparkling wine, but I got too impatient last night and opened that.
That's
But
okay.
yeah, our next sparkling wine demonstration, I'll show the proper way to open a sparkling wine without, because you shouldn't pop the cork.
Right.
Yeah.
Slowly, and you're still holding the cork.
Yeah, you're like the thumb is supposed to be on the cork. You turn the bottle, not the cork.
Right.
Yeah, and keep the cage on. Everyone takes the cage off, but the cage is like safety mechanism. So keep the cage on, turn the bottle, and it slowly releases the carbonation. But yeah, we'll go over that.
Okay. We've only had one that we took the cage off and it hit the ceiling.
Yeah. Yep.
It surprised us.
It really surprised us.
Yep.
It did. It did.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, that's what we didn't talk about today either, is that La Cuvée was bottled under more pressure. Pressure is either measured in bars or I think ATM, atmosphere pressure, in bottles, and like that's usually bottled at higher pressure than like a forced carbonation one like ours. So those, like if you drink a lot of French champagne, those are highly pressurized wines. Little like brief history, not to go off too much on a tangent, but Dom Perignon was the monk back in maybe the 1600s, who he was actually hired by, I think, either the Pope or like the King of France. I forgot who hired him, but he was actually hired to prevent wine from becoming sparkling. That was his job. Yeah, so like people think that Dom Perignon invented sparkling wine. His job was actually to like prevent not from happening, but like through his study and research, he figured out how to control it better. And it wasn't really until the English started making better glass that can hold the pressure where you could actually have consistent champagne. Because before, like in the cellar, they were like ferment and like bottles of pop, and it was very dangerous. And you can look up online the equipment they used to wear. They used to wear these like face masks when they went to the cellar because things would pop spontaneously, like a catcher's mask. Yeah, but the English would create like a better way to make glass, a stronger glass, and then we were able to have these, champagne as we know it today. So,
bottling under higher pressure diffuses more gas into it. So later when you pop it, you get the.
There you go. You got the physics knowledge there. I love it. I love it. So yeah, that's a little bit brief history of Mr. Dom Perignon. Yeah. Well, cheers, you all, for joining me on a Saturday. I know you've done better things with your Saturday, beautiful day, but
we were ready to stop working.
were you doing yard work?
Yard work.
Around the house stuff, yeah. Yeah,
around the house. Yes.
Nice.
Outside when it was cooler, inside.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, luckily we won't have any 100+ degree days in our future, so.
I hope not.
Hopefully it stays that way.
Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully we've done our turn this year.
Hopefully.
Yes, it reached 118 on our patio.
That's insane.
It's not covered, so.
Oh, it was just like
course,
bacon.
Pinot Gris is pretty good out there.
The Pinot Gris was pretty good, and the garden loved it. I mean, you could almost watch it growing.
Really?
Mhm.
And with like a sprinkle of water, it probably just
Yeah, the
Plants
the
are happy.
veggies were loving the heat.
interesting. I'm surprised you didn't have everything burn.
Well, just
Some
the
did.
hydrangeas, the hostas, the things you really want to be pretty.
The softer plants did.
Yeah, we got a little bit sunburn on our baby Chardonnay plants.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
because
they're babies, so
yeah, they have a thinner canopy too, so there was not that much shading.
the ones all the way to the end.
Yeah, but overall though, did pretty well with the heat.
Good.
Did pretty well. This might speed up ripening, so the one thing that we are concerned about is if the sugars move too far ahead of the flavors. So hopefully we get some like a cooler August or a cool July to kind of slow things down a little bit, or maybe a cool September,
Well,
slow things down.
Everyone would be bored if things just went by the book.
I know, right? Who wants the same wine every year?
Yeah.
Oh, also, so this is because just us three talking right now. We are going to be introducing a new varietal at Ruby.
Ooh.
Yeah, begins with an S, ends with an H.
Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh.
Mhm.
Syrah.
Good. Yeah, we got that.
Okay. Yeah, so we got some fruit from I think Columbia Valley.
Okay.
Yeah, so be on the lookout for the first Ruby Syrah coming.
That will be fun.
Very excited about that. But just between us three.
Mhm.
All right, well, that's all for today, guys.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you as well for joining, and enjoy these bubbles on this warm day.
We will. We
All
will.
right.
Have a good weekend.
You as
See
well.
you soon.
Bye.
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 Bye.